But I was always a relationship person. So like, I had a 2.5 year relationship in high school. Immediately went on to like, and I'm a relationship hopper, which is not good. Like I jump from a relationship to relationship. So I was in a relationship from 20 to 30, which sucks because those were like my prime years, right? Like when I'm supposed to be out like exploring and figuring out myself sexually. And I think that's probably for me a big reason that it took me so long to get here, because I wasn't a very sexual person. Including my husband, I had only been with 4 men, including my husband. So you're talking up until like when I was like 43, I had only been with 4 men. Didn't explore anything with those men. I mean, it was just very basic sex, I guess you could say. So I didn't really start exploring until I got divorced.
The following podcast is for informational purposes only and does not constitute legal, medical, or any type of professional advice. While we strive to provide accurate and up-to-date information, laws and regulations surrounding sexuality, relationships, and consent can vary by location and are subject to change. If you have specific legal or medical concerns, we strongly recommend consulting with a licensed professional in your jurisdiction. Listener discretion is advised, as this podcast may discuss adult themes and sensitive topics. By continuing to listen, you confirm that you are 18 years or older. Welcome to the Siren of Freedom Podcast, sounding the alarm by bringing clarity and freedom to the realm of sexuality. Our aim is to give others a place to share their stories and release themselves from the weight of shame and guilt. It's another great night on the Siren of Freedom Podcast. Welcome, everyone, and welcome to our guest tonight. Jennifer, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing great. We had another Jennifer that we interviewed at a time. So what would be your distinction that we could possibly do? You want to say like what part of the country you're from?
Sure. I'm from Florida.
Okay, so Florida Jennifer. The other Jennifer was not from Florida, so there we go.
It's a popular name, so yeah.
It works well. It's a lovely name. So tonight, listeners, we are trying out a new format where my husband Socrates is going to be more of the leader and the interviewer on this one, and Jennifer and I are going to kick back and have a conversation with him. So, welcome, Socrates.
Thank you. How's everybody doing? All right, so yeah, we're excited about this new format. And what we're gonna do is, we're just gonna get to know you and see what Siren's perspective is and what questions she might have. And I'm just gonna kind of guide it along. So, tell us about the beginning of your sexual journey. When did sex become something that you remember as, oh, okay, this is a thing, and I'm interested in this thing?
That's a very interesting question. But so for me, it probably was really later in life. I grew up in a single parent household. I'm an only child. So I probably didn't really start thinking about it until I got into like middle school, high school, and then you're surrounded by kids who, of course, are talking about it and learning about it. So yeah, definitely later in life for me.
Is that because you had kind of like restrictive or like conservative upbringings, or why do you think that was?
No, so my mom, love her to death, but she was probably not really the greatest role model when it came to like sexuality and sex and things like that. I grew up, my grandmother was Presbyterian. She sang in the choir. I used to do Sunday school and things like that, but don't really remember learning anything really in church or even really through my grandmother about it. So my mom was definitely a party girl. I mean, I'm a one night stand baby. She had me at 26. So I didn't meet my dad until I was 30. So it was just me and her and my grandmother, my aunt, grew up with a very small family. Like I said, I mean, no siblings. I'm an only child. Yeah, didn't. So just grew up with her. She unfortunately had, some drinking problems, was an alcoholic, was kind of in and out of rehab for periods of my life as well. So, I think for me, I just didn't really think about that. Like for me, I kind of, and I've even into my later years, I was always like in survival mode. So that just wasn't something I ever really thought about, the sexual side of things. I didn't even lose my virginity until I was 18. So, definitely it was funny. My girlfriends from high school, we all laugh about it because I was like the last one of the group to lose it. So
So you have this kind of like rough upbringing as far as having stability in your life. Your mom was a party girl. I really admire you saying that because I was thinking, I only hear about the restrictions that their parents put on them from, lenient to ultra conservative. And you're not saying this about your mom. Let's make this clear. What I'm about to say, you're not saying this about your mom. I'm just being funny, but I'm like, you never hear, my mom was a hoe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you
right,
don't
right.
hear that much. Like my mom got around. You
I'm
don't
sure you
understand.
don't. People probably don't. Yeah, people probably don't talk about their moms like that.
Right,
But
right, right.
I like to keep it real and kind of. I hate to say it, but she kind of was. I mean, I even later in life when because I obviously when she was going through rehab and stuff like that, a lot of times I had to go to like her sessions and stuff, and so there was a lot I learned about her and her upbringing and things that she had gone through. And yeah, she kind of was. And, she was always at the, of course, the lounge, it was lounges back then. So, I mean, she was like always at the lounge, always out on the weekends. So I'm like home, I'm either with my grandmother or home with a babysitter, things like that. So, but it, obviously a lot of that led into her, being an alcoholic and a lot of kind of the crap that I dealt with. And, I will say too, for me, I think I always had kind of a really bad, probably outlook about sex early on because of my mom. I mean, she had a boyfriend who sadly was very abusive to her. I remember a night where I was home and they had gotten in a huge fight and I was like cowering on the other side of my mom's bed and like had to call my grandmother to come get me and stuff like that. So like, it's like you see a man treating a woman like that and you just you just close yourself off.
I totally get that because it's like, if you're going through that much stuff, it's like the last thing I need to be thinking about is sex. I, I,
Exactly.
I get that.
That's what I'm saying. It was survival mode for me. It was for me. It was like, how do I and I always thank God for my aunt and my grandmother because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't have grown up the way that I did. Like they helped to really keep me on track and obviously make sure I stayed in school, which luckily, I mean, I was a good student and I was a good kid. So I mean, luckily I stayed on the right track. And I think as I got older, I didn't, again, God love my mom, but like I didn't want to end up like her.
Right.
And so I always just made that choice to just be a good person and, make good decisions and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, and it sucks now in my life because I don't have my aunt and my grandmother anymore. They both passed on. So um but without them, yeah, I probably wouldn't be the person I am today for sure. So
So Siren, like, you talk about how sexual you were from jump, right? Like as young as you can remember. With that understanding, do you think if your parents were like a lot more lenient or even party people or whatever, do you think you'd be the way that you are now, considering that you've always been sexual?
What do you mean?
Like you had that drive, right? Like you had that like, ooh, I want to explore this. I want to touch my body. I want to feel it in that way, right? And then you also had the pull of your parents not being really supportive and not being like overly restrictive and conservative about it, not making you feel bad about sex, but also being way more on the conservative end of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think if your parents were really more lenient or on the, you know, Jennifer Florida side, like, do you think you'd be as sexual and as involved in the whole, just sex in general?
Yeah, but it wouldn't be healthy. I feel like I probably would have just, if I would have been allowed to run wild, then it would have been like if I would have gotten the lifestyle before I met you. I needed that structure. Probably just wouldn't be expressing my sexuality in a healthy way. I just probably would have just been allowed to be like whoever. But I didn't even want to be friends with those kids either. I didn't, and we talked about everyone, even though I had all those like same feelings, I controlled myself. So therefore I wasn't a nasty little hoe. No, I just saved that for later in life.
Same, girl, same.
Yeah, that's dope. So when did you really start getting into like exploring sex and like seeing where sex can take you?
For me,
Yes.
oh my gosh. I probably really started, I mean, and I'm not even joking. I'm divorced now 16 months.
I
Congratulations.
thank you so much.
It gets better
I'm
from there. It gets better from there.
I believe it. I believe it.
It's a very, empowering feeling for sure. I mean, I'm single for the first time in 23 years.
Again,
So
congratulations and enjoy every moment of it. And when
I'm
you're
going
ready.
to. That is the plan. That is the plan. But I was always a relationship person. So like, I had a 2.5 year relationship in high school. Immediately went on to like, and I'm a relationship hopper, which is not
Good. Like I jumped from a relationship to relationship. So I was in a relationship from 20 to 30, which sucks because those were like my prime years, right? Like when I'm supposed to be out like exploring and figuring out myself sexually. And I think that's probably for me a big reason that it took me so long to get here because I wasn't a very sexual person. Um, Including my husband, I had only been with 4 men, including my husband. So you're talking up until like when I was like 43, I had only been with 4 men. Didn't explore anything with those men. I mean, it was just very basic sex, I guess you could say. So I didn't really start exploring until I got divorced. I was married. I was in my relationship from 20 to 30, jumped right into a relationship with my husband. We were together 13 years, married 11. And yeah, been divorced 16 months now. So I've definitely been exploring.
That is exactly what I did when I gained my freedom.
Wow.
And then yeah, that was so much
But I'm
fun.
also limited even I mean, and I'm even like limited now. So like, I have 2 children. I have 2 boys. They're 13 and 11. And so like, they're definitely my priority and I have them, half of the time. So it doesn't always give me, all the time I would like to have to explore, but I make it work.
Right, but it's like double what you had before at least, right?
correct.
So,
Correct.
oh yeah.
Yes.
The number 4 is multiplied by lots now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, until my husband and I separated, I had only been with him, and then that quickly
Oh, wow.
changed. That quickly changed.
Yeah. Funny how it just quickly changes.
It was just a slippery slope. As soon as I had that first one, then once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm glad that you're enjoying your newfound freedom. What's been like one of your best just experiences, or maybe something that one of these men said to you that just really kind of got inside of your mind as like, wow, this is what I've been waiting for?
So actually the first guy that I started talking to and had sex with after my husband, probably him. I mean, he definitely opened my eyes to just how great sex could be. Because sadly it wasn't really great in my marriage. It wasn't the beginning, but it definitely got stagnant. It got old, things like that. So yeah, this guy that I started hanging out with, who it's funny, we still hang out today. And it's almost 2 years later. So, but yeah, he really showed me how great sex could be. It was crazy. Oh, well, and then of course for me too, I mean, like I would even say with my husband, I don't think I ever really had like a really true orgasm.
So
That
disappointing. But hey, you're making up
I
for it now,
know. I
right? You're just like,
know.
damn it. How many years
I'm
could I
like,
have? How many more? Oh, I used to think that it was normal to just only have like one or two orgasms, like in a session,
right.
until I went to
Yeah.
Vegas with my friend. And okay, I'm a pervert. So I was like in the bathroom while she was getting bent over the bed. And by some random dude that we saw in the line for the cashier, in the casino.
Awesome. Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
good for
Perfect.
you, girl. Anyways, I heard her making all kinds of noise and ruckus. And first I was trying to watch Netflix on my phone. And then I just took my earbuds out and I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, just listening. Well, then he leaves or whatever. She comes in the bathroom and I was like, oh my gosh, you just like must have had the bestest time. Da, da. She's like, oh, it was all right. And I was like, all right? What do you mean? And she's like, I only had like 6 orgasms. And I was like, what in the fuck are you talking about? Only had 6. Like, I'm like, by myself, I can only get myself like 2 if I'm real lucky, and I never had more than 2. Well, except for the first guy that I had sex with after my husband, he gave me like 7 in 2 hours. But nobody else had really given me any more than like 2 in a session. And then I get married to my husband now, and it's like, if it's less than 10, I'm like, what's going on today? So anyways,
You're like, what am I doing wrong?
TMI listeners,
Oh.
TMI. So I hear you.
So let's get into it. Like, how great can sex be? Like, break it down to me. What did he show you? Like, let our listeners know, like, what you got to experience.
So it can be like almost like, I mean, like almost like an out of body experience. It's so funny. People, I've had friends tell me that, they've had just like these like mind blowing orgasms where they like almost feel like they're going to pass out. And so like when I first experienced something like that, I was like, holy shit, that's what they were talking about. But it's very, and I'm definitely a more like sensual person. Like, yes, I like rough sex sometimes, but not every time. So like, and the foreplay is obviously huge. So, I think foreplay is probably like one of my favorite parts of it. Just the like flirting and, the touching and the feeling and just all the leading up to it. And it really gets all your senses going and stuff like that. So, so that by the time you're actually like doing the deed, I mean, like, good Lord. I mean, like that's the best when you can like work it up and you start doing the deed and you have your first orgasm, like within the first couple minutes. I mean, you're just like, yes.
So definitely
or
that.
even before the deed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like foreplay, you get like,
Yeah.
my old like record of 2 is like now just like, oh, that's just like the foreplay part. Like, what
Well,
kind of
and for
life am I
me, like,
living?
And for me too, like I had never really been into oral, right? Like I didn't really like a guy, because that's another thing too. So I think because of my upbringing and what I saw my mom go through as a young girl, I became very closed off. Like my body was like I said, I mean, I saw my mom like be abused. I mean, like physically by her boyfriend. Um, I hate to say it, but I'm pretty sure she was probably raped.
Oh
Like
wow,
I
so
didn't
sorry.
see it, but
Yeah, like I didn't see it, but I know it happened. Like my mom just put herself in such awful situations that I know it happened. And so, obviously as a young girl going through that, like I was just like, in my mind, I'm like, well, no man's touching me. So I became just very closed off, like my body was mine. I didn't want any man, touching me. Like shoot, I mean, I didn't even like I couldn't even get massages until like a couple of years ago. Like I was that protective about my body that like I didn't want strange people touching it. So I obviously had to like really work through all of that. So obviously with the oral sex piece, I I I didn't like it. I mean, I didn't like sucking dick. I didn't like a man, going down on me or anything like that. So that was another thing I have found that I really like.
Mm.
so
I just think once I kind of got comfortable with my body and, just as a woman, I mean, as I've gotten older, like I think you just get more comfortable, more confident as just a woman. I mean, we go, as women, we go through, goodness gracious, so many changes in our lives and we're just constantly growing and evolving and all that. So, and I will say though, I mean, I'm kind of thankful I'm going through it later in life because I feel like I'm in a better headspace to be able to really process it and deal with it. I feel like as a young woman, I wouldn't have done well with it. So,
That's what I was thinking earlier when you were talking about because being in your 20 to 30 range because I felt the same way. I got divorced. Let's see. I was 30. Yeah, it was the year I turned 30. And I felt like, oh my goodness, my 20 to 30s was just wasted on this like once a week. If I was lucky, marriage, blah, blah, blah. But you know what?
yep.
That gave me all this time to do other things. Like I did so many craft projects. I did so much stuff with my kids, and my friends. I made quilts. Like I did all kinds of things. And because my husband like worked out of town a lot or, he just was on video games or whatever. So I did all these other things. So, then I get divorced, right? I'm in my 30s and I used to cry and be like, I am so horny, God. Why did you make me this way? And I am in my 30s and I'm just like not getting it regularly. Like, even as a single woman who's being not too picky, I am like, what the heck? So, um, you know, you can always, any woman can walk into a bar, right, and just get someone. It might not be like the one they want, but they can get someone, right? So I was like a little too picky for that. So I, just felt sorry for myself. And I was like not a relationship person in that time. There's maybe like I can count the guys on one hand that I went out with and I was always breaking up with them. Cause I was like, if I'm not gonna be 100, then I'm not gonna do it. I was just like, I just wanna fuck a lot of people. But like what
nothing
you
wrong
were
with that.
like what we were saying is like we go through these different phases, right? Well, now in my 40s, I feel fully equipped to really enjoy what
Yeah.
my husband and I have together. So it is I'm so grateful for it, and now I actually appreciate all of it because I kissed a lot of frogs. So
Yeah.
I feel that for sure.
yeah, so I feel like now's like the time when you go through your little hoe phase and all that, and then whatever the
Oh,
next
I went through
chapter.
it.
Yeah, it was fun, but
I mean, I guess you could say I'm still kind of going through it, but
right. Well,
I've backed.
I mean, you talk about being picky and it's like the same, like, especially like right after my divorce, I wasn't like as picky, with my selections, but now I am. I mean, I kind of feel like I got that, that fun hoe phase out, and now, and I'm not looking for a relationship. I mean, again, like my kids are my priority right now, and I just, I don't have the time to fully give somebody, and so like I'm very aware of that, and I want to be fair to that other person. So like I'm not looking for a relationship. I mean, my goal is to definitely stay single for a while, just to focus on my kids and my job, obviously, and things like that. But it's funny because when you were talking about how you were like doing other things in your 20s and stuff, I was too. So I played soccer. That was my sport. I was a sporty girl. So I played soccer for 20 years. So that's actually how I met the guy that I dated from 20 to 30, because he ran the indoor soccer center that I played at. So that's what I did. I mean,
Perks
we
of the
played
job.
soccer.
Right. I mean, we played soccer like
4 to 6 days a week. I mean, it was just I'd work and go play soccer, work and go play soccer. So I was definitely busy doing that, but I mean, we still did fun things and stuff like that. But yeah, so I get what you're saying though, that you were like busy doing other things, 'cause so was I.
Yeah, I wasn't having sex very much of it, so
yeah,
I had a lot of time for
Yeah.
other things. So
right.
So, Siren, what would be some advice you would give for someone like Jennifer from Florida she's wants to now really open it up, right? She really wants to start enjoying it. She realizes, you know what, this is something that can be explored, that I can go deeper. I want to really do this, but I want to do it the right way. I want to do it safe. What are some of the basic principles, Siren, that you would tell someone like Jennifer, or anybody that's in that stage of their life?
to do it safe. I am a terrible example of this. But in hindsight, like I will tell you, I was not safe. I was not smart. I didn't always wear protection. I am one lucky motherfucker. Okay. Um, but in hindsight, what I teach my daughter now, and her friends is like everything that I should have done and should have known to do as a 30-year-old woman. And I was pretty good about telling people like, okay, I'm going to this guy's house to hook up. Here's the address, right? So, but I think there are some basic things that you should follow, right? You should let someone know where you're going if you're doing that. Bring your own protection, because most of the time these guys don't have any. So if you care about keeping yourself safe, get regular testing more than once a year if you're out there just hoeing it up, living your best life. And if you're in a state that you can legally carry a firearm, I don't think that's a bad idea either. Like,
Yeah.
and no,
I
obviously
thi- yeah.
getting trained how to use it too.
Right.
So, and those are all things that none of which I did, except for giving people the address. Hey, and we'd be like, hey, if you find me in a ditch tomorrow or you can't find me, here's where I last was. I died happy. We'd make jokes like that, but in hindsight, I'm like, that
Right.
is insane. Like,
Right.
because
Like you're
people,
saying things that you probably never thought you would say.
right, but Dateline shows that those things happen all the time.
Yeah.
So, me
Yeah.
and my friends who are, divorcees in our 30s are all like, oh yeah, so if you, can't find me at home tomorrow, I might be in this guy's apartment wrapped up in a rug or some shit. So, all I can do is try to influence and my neighbor did try to tell me, different things like, oh, just please tell me where you're going and get a picture of his driver's license or, just extra things. And
Yeah.
I would go out of town
Well, I
all
do
the
share
time
share my
too.
location.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would go out of town all the time too and just go on a random date with some dude from Tinder or whatever and bang him in his fancy apartment in New York City, whatever. Like, I didn't care. I didn't care. I was just like having the time of my life. But you can have just as much fun and then also be smart and safe about it too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys this. So I'm a big I'm not at all red pill. I don't like them. I'm against what they say, but I do follow them. And red pill, if you don't know, is this community of men who are kind of like super ultra macho and want to bring things back to, more traditional times. I said all that to say, in that community, they talk about body count and they talk about the mental health of it. So
Mhm.
I'm a big proponent that it has nothing to do with any of that. And body count has nothing to do with it if you know how to interact with women. But what were you guys' opinions? I know Siren has said that she went through a stage where she was just banging the pain away, right? So what do you guys do to make sure that your mental health is still there on your whole journey?
Hmm.
That's a yeah.
I'm gonna let you.
That's
You want
good.
to take that
So
one, Jennifer, and then I'll go there.
yeah. So I will say for me,
I say, that, yeah, I went through a hoe phase and stuff like that. And I did kind of make decisions that I look back and I'm like, girl, what were you thinking? And I wasn't always as safe or as cautious. But of course, for me, I mean, again, like I was just, getting out of a marriage and I was like, holy crap, and it's like, okay, so for me too, it wasn't obviously I was married. And so like I didn't know what it was, that other guys even found me attractive or anything like that. So it was like to find all these like men that were like, oh my gosh.
wanting to ravish me, I was like, okay, great. But
I love
for
that
me,
word, by the
well,
way. I love the word ravish.
yeah, it's a great
That's something,
word.
says something to
But
me.
for me though, I still struggle mentally sometimes with it because
I'm not the type of person that really it goes out and casually has sex with men. I've never been that way in my life. And so for me doing it now, I kind of do have moments where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really what I want. Like, is this what I want to do? Or should I be doing this? And all that. So I just think for me, I think checking in with yourself is really important.
Yeah.
Um, and and not just going with it and just thinking that, it's fulfilling you, right? Which it does fulfill you to a certain extent, but is it fulfilling like everything that you want and everything that you need? So I check in with myself every, it depends, of course, depending on what's going on or how many guys I'm talking to or anything like that, varies on how often I do it. So like right now, I'm not really doing it that much because there's really no need. But when there's a need, I do it often. I think that's really important to just sit down and almost like, I mean, you could journal. I'm not really good at journaling or anything like that. I'm better off honestly just kind of sitting down and almost just like having a conversation with myself in my head. So to me, I think that's really important.
Yeah. I would self-evaluate, and I wish I had like done a spreadsheet or something. But after each encounter experience, I would either in just like the car on the way home, I would either,
mm,
like you said, have a conversation with myself about it,
yeah,
or I would call a friend
yeah,
and it'll be like, okay, how did this go? What was my level of pleasure? Like,
mm,
how did he treat me as just like a human being here and there? Just kind of do a little bit of reflection on that. And then,
mhm,
but for far too long, I just did not hold men to the standard of matching my energy, probably
mm.
for years. And so,
Yeah, and that's huge.
yeah, and that was my biggest thing is I could just hear myself telling myself, this guy's not matching your energy. Why are you hanging around, And then sometimes you're like, shut up, bitch, the dick is good, but
Something tells me though, it might be really hard to match your energy.
Thank you.
Woo! I don't even know you that well yet, girl, and I don't know. Just from what I've seen, I'm like, woo, this could be like my spirit animal here.
Well, she gave you guys, you should see the video. She gave me the look of death, but it's a positive thing.
it
Her
doesn't sound
inner,
positive though.
yeah, you
In
take,
my life, I've been told I'm too much.
yeah. So
Be too much, girl. Are you kidding
exactly.
me?
Thank
Come
you.
on,
Thank
right?
you.
I would love actually.
That's so funny you said. I was just gonna say, I would love for somebody to call me too much, and somebody freaking did like a week and a half ago. And so I said, you know what? If I'm too much, go find less.
Right. I don't have that.
So that's what
sense
I need to
about
talk about.
Yeah, thank you. It's like,
You
own
should,
that
girl.
shit.
Right?
You
Own
listen,
it. Goodness.
sometimes you fucking are. Own it. Oh well,
Right.
fuck them.
Be too much.
Oh well.
I'll say that to you then.
Yeah. The only thing, listen, we're gonna hash it out here, y'all. Y'all gonna hear this shit. The only thing I'm asking you is I'm too much. How? My name is Socrates. So what do you think I do? I run my mouth all fucking day long about philosophical things. All day long. Do you know what you do? Rightfully so. You know what you do, as you should do, the smartest thing you do? I would say, I would guess 50% of the time. I don't think it's that much, but let's just go through an extreme. You fucking glaze over and you just like blank out and you're like, you know what? I'm not fucking paying attention to all this shit. It's too much. Guess what? Even if it gets on my nerves, and I've told you this straight up, just let me glaze over. Because guess what, like, ladies and gentlemen, this woman talks about sex more than anybody on the fucking planet. I've never met anybody in my goddamn life. And I was like, if there's a diagnosis, and I'm nerdy enough to look at the American Psychological Association, they took it off the list. There's no such thing as a sex addiction. But if there was, she would be it. And if there's such a thing as a nymphomaniac, she would be it, period. You know, we're not just doing this because we think it's cool. This is her life. This is what she's on this planet to do. So own it. Own it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Own the fact that, guess what? You love so hard and so much and so consistently, and you never stop loving. It is hard to keep up with that kind of energy. It's hard to match it. I don't match you. You just know I give you all I got. You know I don't match your energy. I don't fucking match it. The only difference is I gave double, triple more than the last fools you were with.
No, I don't agree with you. It's a different energy for different things. So it's like all the things that I have the energy for, everything else you have the energy for. So it's a complementary energy. So it's not a match to the energy. It's you're matching the power of my energy, but your energy is for different topics. Does that make sense? So
Which is great.
it
Yeah.
weaves
Which is
together.
great.
The energies weave together.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
don't agree with them.
Well-
Now, if we're talking about the energy of sex, yes, I'm going to kick anybody's butt on that any day of the week, right? That's why, you know, my husband goes to the gym a lot and it works out, you know? He does his darndest, but, you know, as far as other things, like he has way more energy for,
Research.
research and people.
Yeah.
Like I'm an
Yeah.
extroverted introvert. So like I will people and then
Interesting.
I'm like, everyone get away from me right now before I implode. And he opens his eyes.
Yeah.
Ooh, oh gosh, wish I was talking to a group of people right now. Oh, and then like from till the time he goes to sleep. It's like if we woke up and there was a group of people, like a press conference, asking questions in our bedroom when we woke up, he would be happy. He would be like, I'd be like pissed off.
No
going
lies
under the
detected,
cover,
y'all. No
right?
lies detected.
And he would be like, "Oh yes,
That's
you over
hilarious.
there. Can you give me some coffee, ma'am? I know you guys have questions. So let me get my glasses. Where are my readers, babe? I know I have 800 pair in the house. Let me find a pair of readers." Right? Then he put on his glasses, and he would be so happy. Me, I would be like under the covers, like, "Oh goodness, it's only 7:00 in the morning. I'm gonna die." So that's how it is.
I love it.
I get overstimulated, and then I just need alone time. But not him.
Well, it's probably because you get overstimulated. You
Yeah,
know, sometimes
I
you gotta just like
overstimulate
take a break.
myself. Positive of it. Oh
I
goodness.
love it. I know.
So, anyways, people, you know, I don't know. I am who I am. So I've always gone by the motto: you either love me or you hate me, and I'm fine with either. Just don't.
Yeah.
Just be authentic. Just be authentic.
So
Right.
if I'm recapping, we were really talking about what people can do in this stage in your life, Jennifer. And what if I'm recapping? You're really saying, hey, take the time to really just go over your thoughts, go over, you know, what you've
Yeah.
experienced. Sit down. If you like to journal. If not, you know, sit down. And then Siren was saying, yeah, talk to your friends, talk to yourself. But I think
Yeah. Yeah.
the biggest one you left out, where Siren you did not really talk about, is that your manifestation list was not just a manifestation list, it was cathartic. And the reason why is because you went over in your head the positives and the negatives, the things you loved and the things you didn't like, the things you wanted and the things you wouldn't accept anymore. And you worked on it mentally and you wrote it down.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great for women to
I
do.
totally forgot about my manifestation list. Because here it sits before me. So I think we brought it up on several podcasts, but it's really good and bears repeating that a lot of women focus on what they don't want in a man. Well, I don't want him to be broke. I don't want him to live in his mom's basement. I don't want him to stink. You know, like all these things. So when I started interacting with men after I got divorced, at first I was kind of frustrated, you know, with what was happening. And then I was like, wait a second. I need to try to grab something positive from each of these men and write it down. So like one guy was a good day, you know, some guys I couldn't find much, but that was okay.
Yeah.
So and then I just came up with this entire list of like down to like
That's really cool. That's a great idea. Yeah.
a whole bunch of other things. Maybe we'll publish that as like a resource in the podcast.
Seriously.
But it just gives you something positive to focus on. Like, hey, I am adding to this list. And then I was like, man, this is a tall order. And then it was just like, God was like, hold my beer. And here is your husband with with VIP bonus features. Like, you know, so, you know, I really do believe that you can get the desires of your heart if you are just willing to focus on the positive and just be patient. Like some people were like, "Oh, you'll probably
I was
get
just
married
gonna
in
say,
a couple."
you have to be patient.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
single for 10 years. 10 years before I met him.
Oh my gosh.
Like I had
Yeah,
a like little
yeah.
boyfriend
Good for you.
situationships. I don't think I had a true.
Yeah, of
I don't
course.
think I had a true committed relationship the entire time.
Yeah.
No.
That's
like I
awesome.
was
Good for you.
committed, but they probably really were like, you know what I mean? So
Well, and I think that's so big though to be patient because again, like I said, I you know, for me, I'm such a relationship hopper. I jump from one to the next, and I've never given myself time after these relationships to really heal from those relationships because they weren't always great relationships. You know, I mean, my 10-year relationship before I met my husband was insanely toxic, and I look back at it now, and I never dealt with all the crap that I went through in that relationship. You know, he was a narcissist, controlling, you know, latched onto me at a very young age. And so for me, that's why it was like, especially now after my divorce, I'm like, I need to take time for me. I need to figure me out and figure out what I want and what makes me happy and find my peace and all that. And it took a while. I mean, I would say even at like a year after my divorce was when I finally kind of woke up and I was like, holy shit, I'm on the other side of it. Like I feel good. I feel at peace. I know how to make myself happy, which was another thing because I always relied on other people to make me happy. And so I thought I needed a man to make me happy. So now being able to be by myself and be single and be happy has been, I mean, it's been absolutely life-changing. So yeah, being patient's huge. It's a hard thing to do, but
and I don't think
it's worth it.
I see lots of people that, you know, jump into things rather quickly or whatever. And I don't fault them because you get in your comfort zone of, you know, being with someone and being comfortable with them. It's the same reason that people keep sleeping with their ex after they're, you know, broke up or divorced or whatever. It's just a comfort thing, you know? So, you know, I definitely don't fault people for that. And I definitely had my moments of impatience. And then I just kind of got to a point, I don't even remember what year it was, where I was just like, you know what? I was like, if I find someone, I find someone. If I don't, I don't. And
that's where I'm at. Yeah.
You
I get it.
And then I just enjoyed whatever came along. And my motto was kind of like, if this is forever or for a day, then I'm just gonna enjoy it. You know? It doesn't
I
matter.
like that.
So
yeah.
And then coming into this relationship with Socrates, I was just a lot more aware of like the things that you were saying of like, okay, I want to make sure that everything that I do in this is because, there's compromise and there's push and pull and all of that, but I want to make sure at the end of the day that like everything that I choose to do is because I want to, not because he's convincing me or pushing me or anything else that like, because I just always want to kind of keep that clean slate with myself of like, okay, if it gets to here, it's because you wanted to. And so some stuff has taken longer than it needed to be because I was just like making sure with myself, okay, is this something that you really want to do and not just saying yes. Which, partly was because of past trust issues, but also because I wanted to make sure with myself, like, okay, I'm not just doing this because this is something he's into. I'm doing this because I want to, or, okay, we're going to do this or have this business or whatever. Okay, this needs to be something that I want to. I may not need to feel 100% sure of all the details, but I need to be, confident and just moving to the next step.
And that was your position with not just sex or what we did around sex, but that's your position for everything. I mean, I wanted, we are in business together in a lot of different ways. We, own several businesses, and I wanted to jump into business right away. And she's like, nah, son, you need to prove yourself. Like, she didn't say it that way. She's very, politically correct or whatever, says things in a very nice and positive way. But I'm translating into, nah, son, I need to see you produce. I need to see you, you talk a lot. I need to see you be about it, And so, and she, a lot of different things that I might have wanted to do or had an idea for, she was like, let me check my heart. Let me see if I really want to do this. Let me marinate on it. And then the thing is, though, the great thing about her is, but once she's in, period. And, we can get into some stories about that, but, we'll probably do that on the Patreon side. But, she's committed. And when, she's decided that, yeah, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and launch this podcast, and, I may lose some friends, I may lose, family or whatever, but I'm doing this. She has moved, full speed ahead. And that's what I love about her. So unless you have some other things, Siren, to talk about, I think we can wrap up this end of it, and, we can pick up the more juicier stuff on the other side.
Yeah, no, I know. Just closing remarks is just, I love how you just never know where conversations are going to go. So it's always cool to just hear everyone's journey and like the stories of their life and what shaped them and their sexuality and a whole lot of other parts of you. But this podcast is focused on the sexuality part. Because I think it's a part that we don't talk about nearly enough as a society. And that's why
it's good to learn from each other.
Yeah.
And I learn a lot by hearing it.
And you're not alone. Like somebody somewhere has been through the similar things,
right.
Or maybe somebody that wants to be free, and maybe this the housewife that secretly listens to this while they're doing the laundry during the day, and the kids are running and screaming everywhere, just something that people that can relate to. So far the feedback's really good. So all right, well, we're gonna close this out, and then we will see you on the other side. Have a good night, everyone.
Hear the call, we're rising higher. On your truth, live out loud.
Thank you so much for listening today. We hope this podcast has been an encouragement to you. You can find us on our website, thesireнофreedom.com, and also on social media and Patreon under the Siren of Freedom Podcast. Your support is what helps us continue to sound the alarm of freedom.